Hey, good morning, y'all. So the sun is blinding me today, and but I'm not going to complain. I'd rather have that than a gloomy, stormy day, right? But I hope you're doing good wherever you are. I hope you are experiencing some beautiful weather, whatever that means for you. And I came across one of my old books. And I went through some of my storage yesterday, and it was a lot of fun. And well, actually, was it yesterday or the day before? Recently, I don't know, sometime over the weekend. But I found this old book, and I've always enjoyed all of Dr. Wayne Dyer's presentations and his books. I've read several, and I don't have them all still, so I can't remember the specifics, but I was still very happy to find this, so I just thought I would share a little excerpt from it with you all, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so The Power of Intention, and then the subtitle is Learning to Co-Create Your World Your Way. And if you're unfamiliar with Dr. Dyer, to me, the beauty of his work is that it's a blend of just very down-to-earth type presented experiences, personal experiences he's had, just like sitting down having a great conversation with a friend, blended with some spirituality that crosses boundaries. It's suitable for, in my opinion, just most anybody who considers themselves to be a spiritual person, regardless of their specific faith. And I love that. Because then the concepts can reach more people that way and help them along their path. And I've always felt like he was a very genuine person. And based on everything I've read and seen from him, and that matters to me too, when I'm considering what to take in and consider within my own mind and heart, I want to consider where it's coming from. You know what I mean? So, but let's go ahead and start. I'm going to read a little excerpt here. And this is in, this is chapter 1. I wasn't sure. Viewing Intention from a New Perspective. That's the title of it. And so on page 4, if you have the hardcover copy, it says towards the bottom of page 4, Castaneda, he's referencing Carlos Castaneda, right? And so he says, Castaneda's words were, intent is a force that exists in the universe. When sorcerers, and then in parentheses, those who live of the source, beckon intent, it comes to them and sets up the path for attainment, which means that sorcerers always accomplish what they set out to do. And he says, when I read those two sentences, I was stunned by the insight and clarity it gave me about the power of intention. Imagine that intention is not something you do, but rather a force that exists in the universe as an invisible field of energy. I had never considered intention in this way before reading Castaneda's words. And then he talks about it was so impactful to him, he had those two sentences written down. He wrote them down, and he printed it and laminated and carried this little card with that message everywhere. When he had surgery and just everything he did, it was with him. And he says, I made intention a part of every speech I gave, right? And then he talks about having this awakening. And it says, it had become clear to me that accessing the power of intention relieved so much of the seemingly impossible work of striving to fulfill desires by sheer force of will. And I love that. I think that a lot of this, when we, are on a healing journey, and we realize that a big part of that is growing, learning and growing. I think we all, what we discover can resonate with one another, because it's kind of like, if you think about this overarching universal truth, it's sort of like nothing in existence can exist without being immersed in that truth. It's kind of like there's really only one truth, and just different perspectives of it, and all these little different pieces of it. And what we're doing is we're just finding that truth, discovering that truth, becoming conscious of it on our path, you know. And so I've talked about this before, you know, when you reach a certain point of really serious study, when you set your heart, you know, on the intention of wanting to truly learn and grow in the spiritual realm, I have found that when you go back and you read things like the Bible, suddenly in the past you may have perceived certain verses to be more like instructive or directive, like you need to do this and this and this, and you're, you know, and it feels like contradictory really to what Jesus taught, because Jesus taught, you know, that you can't save yourself through your own efforts and being, you know, religious and taking all these steps and checking all these boxes. He's like, it doesn't work that way. And in fact, you need to be free of that. That's not even a real freedom, and I love that, which is why I've always kind of thought of him as, you know, a rebel in his time, which he was, right? But that's not freedom. That's just bound by the laws of human ego, really. And so when you're just striving and ticking the boxes, it's you're approaching all of these teachings through that lens of them being directions, right? And I'm not saying that's not right. I think it's kind of a both and. I think that we do have to or we should, if we want to attain what we're seeking to attain in the spiritual realm, I think that there has to be a part on our end. It's not just going to fall in our lap, because again, faith without actions is dead, right? We're told that in the Bible. So, but the new lens, right, somewhere along your path, when you're really, really working hard at this, and there's a shift in your mindset on all this, for me, it happens when you realize that many of the things you read in the past from Holy Scriptures that you used to perceive as just simply being directives, right? You now perceive as sort of like universal truths. And it's not like do this and this and this, but this is how things will go. You know, it's kind of like what I like to call the divine design. You know, God's design as far as just the way that things work, right? And a perfect example of this is nature, and just seeing how it's like, you know, animals don't sit down and analyze and teach their young certain things to the degree that we do anyway. It's kind of like things come natural to animals. Like when, for example, birds migrate, you know, for the winter and the summer. And it's like, how do they know where to go? But they know. So, and then of course, you know, hibernation with some animals. And then of course, plants and trees and all the things that grow, they know when to grow, they know how to grow. There's preservation built into their very nature, and all this just beautifully complex truth and knowing and instruction, but it happens automatically. See, they don't have a need for a separate little mind within each one of them to analyze and figure out how to do something. I've always said how is God's part. The how of everything is God's part, which is why if you truly believe something, in other words, you just need a mustard seed of faith, right? Even if things seem impossible, we're told that nothing is impossible with God. And that can only be true if you surrender this striving that we all cling so tightly to, unfortunately. And then we suffer because of it, right? When you just release that and you truly just put your faith in the Heavenly Father, right? Then you're just kind of living in a state of flow. And yeah, you still have a part. You still have effort you have to put into it, but he's in the driver's seat. You see what I'm saying? And so you don't have to even know how it's going to work out. It's just if God puts something in your heart and it's beautiful and it's peaceful and it's helpful and it's going to bring about good fruit, good things, that's how you know it's coming from the right place. But when God puts something like that in your heart, you don't have to have it all figured out. All you have to figure out is what's that next step to take. Kind of like you're walking in the dark, which, view it this way. Instead of viewing it from a victimhood mindset, if things are scrambled in your life right now, and maybe you can't see very far ahead in your future right now because of things have fallen apart or whatever you've been through, view it as a beautiful opportunity to have an adventure and to increase your faith. Because if you view it as, you're surrounded in darkness, there's two ways of looking at it. Again, from the victimhood mindset or from the, ooh, this is going to be fun mindset. That's the faith-filled mindset. And you can just envision having a flashlight, and literally it's a really poor one, or a candle or something, and all you can see is right there in front of you, your very next step. And then you take that next step, and then your next step unfolds for you. And previously you couldn't see it until you made this first step. And then you take that next step, right, in faith, because you still can't see ahead. And then the next step unfolds for you. So it's like a process that I think we resist, and we get all worked up over sometimes, and we are very reactive to it and feel all kind of intense feelings for it. We suffer for it, right? Because we resist it. But it's a process that if we allow through faithful surrender to unfold in His way and in His time, in the end, it proves to us who's really in control. And that should be a relief to us, right? To know that, oh my gosh, all this time I thought, everything fell on my shoulders. But it doesn't. I'm not alone. I am loved. And look at how things turned out. And sometimes you can even, if you just want to apply some, of the human ego to it and mindset, you can say this and this and this, these parts of it really shouldn't have happened. A lot of times you can identify those parts of it, and it's kind of like, statistically speaking, some things actually should have been statistically impossible, and yet they happened. And so operating this way in your life, to me, is a gift from the Creator to ultimately give us like a layered gift in the end. First of all, He knows the desires in our hearts, right? And so when we take those faithful steps one at a time, and He's putting that into action and He's guiding us, this is how He guides us, right? In the end, not only do we have our desires fulfilled, but we have the gift of knowing that we're not alone and that we are loved beyond our wildest imagination. And so it's a beautiful process, and I think a lot of us, at different points, in our life, it happens. Everybody's life progresses, differently, in a unique way, and so there's different, stages of a person's life when this might happen for this person versus this person. But I think at some point we all get to a point where this whole kind of tie-in to this to God is kind of undeniable at some point, isn't it? And so it's beautiful. And I just hope this is inspiring to you, and I hope that it resonates for you somehow, and encourages you. And so, yes, again, it had become clear to me that accessing the power of intention relieved so much of the seemingly impossible work of striving to fulfill desires by sheer force of will. That is what we surrender. Our will. In the Bible it says, not my will, but your will, right? His will. Surrendering. I don't know why we think that surrendering in the spiritual realm to the right the right entity is going to work against us. I think that sometimes maybe it's an issue of not believing that we're loved, you know, because we don't want to accept that some of the hard things we've dealt with in life were because we made poor choices, you know. And I can see that in my own life when I just was so bent just on, you know, applying my own sheer force of will, you know what I mean, when something just, there were flags everywhere. You know what I mean? And so the first part of the surrendering process to me is taking accountability and being honest, fully honest with yourself that, okay, I did see how I really shouldn't have gone this direction, but I did it anyway, or whatever it was, you know. That's an important step. But it's a really cool book. He talks about the field called intention and how we interact with it. And I want to keep this video a little short. I'm trying really hard. I don't know why. I don't intend for it to be this way, but a lot of my videos wind up being around 40 minutes long, and it's like I just make my notes and I just do my research and I film, and it just always is, you know, close to that time frame. But I'm trying to figure out how to make a presentation shorter, so, and I hope that's beneficial for you. So I'm going to end this here, and I've got more to share, and I'll just make another video for that. So thank you so much for coming along to hear the message. I hope this was encouraging. I hope it resonated on some level, and I just encourage you to keep the faith, and to never give up, and to know that you are loved. And to see hard times and challenges in the darkness in your life as an opportunity for God to show up in your life. And you know, sometimes it's hard, but I really try to view life as an adventure, and just flow with the emotions, let them come and let them go, and just know that everything is always changing. That's easily observable in nature. You know, there's always a flow of change and growth, and there are cycles, right, in nature, and we're a part of that. So just please know that if and when you're ever going through a really hard time, it will pass. It will pass, and God does have wonderful plans for you. Don't forget it. And again, I just hope you're encouraged. Thanks so much for coming along to hear the message. I hope that you have a beautiful day, and I'll see you again very soon.